Hello everyone, I'm excited to be here tonight, and Justin, thank you for that warm introduction. Tonight we're going to talk about what is fast becoming one of my favorite blends, and from the emails that I've received, and I've already started receiving lots of testimonials from many of you, I believe that it's becoming one of your favorite essential oil blends too. And now this is the Immortelle blend, and you can see right here from our very first slide, restoring the essence of youth. Now, I'm a typical guy, so I haven't really put a lot of time and effort into taking care of my own skin, but I have to tell you that the older I get, the more I appreciate the importance of that one little thing that I think everybody seems to know about previously, but perhaps myself. Many of us have probably had experiences with skin care, with health and beauty, and we tend to focus them into different aspects. And some of you might feel, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty here. Some of you might feel a little bit like this woman here, and hopefully that none of you have really had this experience, but it seems like we're really willing to go to almost any length to procure our beauty and to procure our health. And how vibrant our skin is really is a part of how healthy we are as an individual. It truly does reflect that. So I want to spend just a minute and lay a foundation for the things that we're going to talk about tonight. Now, you already know that we have our essential skincare kit, and that has been a very powerful kit, and it's been very effective for many individuals who have used it. And I want to build an argument for that, whether it's skincare or any other aspect of our health, there's an argument that needs to be made for consistency. It's what we do on a daily basis that really promotes the best outcome that we can possibly receive. And skincare, having that as a daily approach, is no exception. So we've created a wonderful skincare program for you that many of you are currently using, but we wanted to enhance that, and that's the reason behind the Immortelle anti-aging blend. This is restoring the essence of youth. I've been very impressed with some of the emails, and I recently received an email. In fact, I received another one today, and I wanted to show that because it came with some very powerful pictures showing some before and after effects of somebody who was using the Immortelle blend. And as you know, we launched this not very long ago, just at the beginning of this month. So it's been a very short period of time that people have had access to the Immortelle blend, but yet very powerful stories that are coming. Regretfully, I can't show you those pictures tonight because I wasn't able to get permission from the individual who sent them to me, and so I'll maybe keep them private for the time being. But many of you have had your own experience with Immortelle, and I want to just focus in on how that is helping to change the dynamic of skincare. Now, when we talk about our skin, there's two approaches to skin. One is those things that we're going to do on a daily basis in terms of nourishing and replenishing our skin. But then we have other circumstances that occur where we have damage or we have injury or other episodic type things that occur. And this is part of the reason for adding the Immortelle, this unique blend and very powerful blend, as you'll find out in a few moments as we start discussing a few of the essential oils that are in this blend, why we added that to the skincare system as a whole. Now, there's two distinct types of skin aging and how they affect us individually. And it's not very difficult to tell as we begin to age that we are aging. We notice those fine lines and wrinkles, and we don't maybe have the elasticity in our skin the way that we once had. One of the primary factors for that is something that we would outline as an intrinsic factor. Now, intrinsic factors are very specific in terms of what they are. Intrinsic factors are those factors that are generally considered to be genetic in nature. For example, we know that when cells divide, and there are active cells associated with your skin as there are in all parts of your body. We know that proper division, proper lifespan associated with those cells. There is genetic predisposition associated with that. But in that predisposition for aging biologically and chronologically, in that predisposition that's associated with our propensity for disease or for illness, something very interesting. We've discovered that lifestyle is a way that we can change that. so that even though genetically we may have some predisposition, this intrinsic factor for why our skin begins to age or why we have skin problems, we can dramatically alter that according to the research now if we're willing to take more sustainable and daily approaches to lifestyle. Some of those things that we would include would be use of the whole skincare system that we have. But additionally, I have to talk just for a moment now. This is not a lifelong vitality webinar, but I have to tell you the value of vitamin and mineral nutritional content in the body as a whole as it reflects to these genetic factors. And a daily use of the lifelong vitality, believe it or not, and some of you may have noticed this already, will change the look of your skin. As your body becomes more vibrant as a whole, as your cells become more vibrant, which you know is a part of what that whole process is behind that nutritional product, this is one of the ways that we can also improve skin. So intrinsic factors, although genetic, we actually can control them through better lifestyle choices, which in this case we've defined as using the lifelong vitality and using the whole of the doTERRA skincare system. Now there's also extrinsic factors. Now I have a picture of a cigarette here, and that's not because I'm trying to pick on individuals who are smokers, but this is one of the most common extrinsic factors. In fact, many of you would be surprised to learn that individuals who smoke, the condition and health of their skin is much less than what a non-smoker is. And there's lots of reasons for that. There's chemical toxicity that's deposited, but there's also a direct influence that's associated with skin circulation. And as we reduce and have poor circulation, we have wrinkles and other problems that begin to develop within the skin. That is by far not the only extrinsic factor that there is. We could say that exposure to toxicity, even exposure to sun and other elements, serve as an extrinsic factor. Those things that we're exposed to that in one way or another have an effect upon the balance, tone, and overall health of our skin. And in fact, let me focus for just a little bit on ultraviolet exposure, the type of exposure that we get from sun. Now what you're looking at here on the left-hand side of your screen, the color picture, this is a woman who's obviously a little bit older, and you can see some visible skin damage that's associated with this picture. The next picture is, again, just a regular photograph. It's in just a black and white photograph, but you can also see that that damage is somewhat visible. But the third picture is under an ultraviolet light, and you can see the amount of damage that now becomes visible to her skin. And this is direct damage that comes from the sun. And in fact, one of the most potent, one of the most difficult factors that we experience with our skin is the damage that we receive from the sun. Now, we always think of this as we have to be very old in order to have that kind of damage. You can see here that this is a much younger person, and as we go from the progression on the left-hand side and to the right side where we have this ultraviolet camera that's showing us the exposure of the damage, you can see that although she has no visible signs of damage, when we expose it under ultraviolet light, you can see that she actually has quite a bit of damage. And then if we went to an even younger person, a young child, where we would absolutely not see any signs of visual skin damage, you can see how damaging some of these extrinsic factors can be, as you notice on his cheeks and on his nose there on the right-hand side, that even this very young child has some exposure and some damage. So the real question becomes is, how does the Immortelle really help us in that process? There's a lot of very common things that if we could, we would want to change about our skin. One would be we would want to change the overall appearance of our skin. We would want it to appear healthy. We would want it to appear moisturized. We would want it to have a healthy glow to it, if you would. We would also want to reduce the signs of wrinkles, and then we would want to reduce the signs of inflammatory process, reddening of the skin that sometimes can occur. And then we also receive age spots, and you see a little bit of a dramatization here on your screen that illustrates that. When we have damage, whether it's UVA or UVB damage that comes from the sun, when we have that type of damage in our skin, we can develop redness and irritation, inflammatory responses, but we also have an overproduction of melanin as we damage the cells that lie within that subcutaneous or that most superficial layer of the skin. the Immortelle blend can help reduce all of these types of circumstances. And one of the primary reasons why is because of the essential oils that are in this blend. Now, I was joking with somebody a little bit earlier today, and I said, this will really be a pretty easy webinar to do. And the reason why is because I could just say, think of all of the most potent oils you can think of for skin health, and for protection of your skin, and that's what's in the Immortelle blend. We have frankincense, sandalwood, lavender, myrrh, helichrysum. Each one of those are very, very potent and powerful. So let me now, we also have rose in there, and I apologize because I don't have that on the slide, but rose is also in here, and I'll talk about that just briefly. Now let's talk a little bit about frankincense if we can, because frankincense we're all familiar with. We all love frankincense. We realize how valuable it is, how important it is to the body as a whole. I frequently talk with people about using frankincense as a daily use essential oil because of the restorative benefits and the protective benefits that it has for the body as a whole. Well, it's the same reason why we have it in the Immortelle blend. It reduces scarring, it reduces inflammations, it's cytophylactic. Now that's a very important feature. What that means is that as your skin becomes damaged, and part of the way that your skin maintains its youthful appearance is its reproduction of new cells, cells that have very important function to your skin. Cytophylactic means that we can stimulate new production and regular routine appropriate production of new skin cells. And a lot of times when we have damage, that becomes very compromised. So the skin becomes dry, becomes cracked, it loses its elasticity. We also have problems associated with wrinkles and those things that we're trying to avoid. So frankincense is very powerful that way. Now I'm going to talk about myrrh at the same time, even though I don't have a picture of myrrh up here. I'm going to talk about myrrh at the same time and tell you that myrrh is very similar to what frankincense is. They have nearly identical properties in terms of skin care. Reducing of the scarring, inflammation. Now myrrh is not cytophylactic necessarily, but just like frankincense, it's also antiseptic and it's a good astringent. Now antiseptic properties is important because a lot of times we do have bacterial or viral infections that can be an active part of our skin, for example, like with acne. And it's good to have antiseptic properties associated with the oils within this blend. But the frankincense and myrrh also have astringent properties, and what that means is it can actually tighten the skin, and this is really important for reducing wrinkles like around the eyes or at the corners of the mouth, wherever we might want to apply it.